Okay, so City Council met for its first regular session since our new mayor was sworn in. Bill Orleans had questions about updates to the city charter and Board of Elections procedures.
Yeah, a couple of things. First of all, our new mayor, you mentioned, it's his goal to help reduce the length of meetings. So that's apparently he did a pretty good job on this one. We'll follow that. The second thing, just a little bit of a shout out to Bill Orleans. He ran for office, didn't get enough votes. He came in last place, but guess what? Here he is back at the meeting, making these proposals to review the city charter. He's involved, and I think he's a great example.
He is, and his message is everyone should be involved in democracy.
That's right, and because what goes on at these meetings, we'll talk about this in the next couple of minutes, makes a difference to our quality of life, to what we do. So good for you, Bill.
So some of the smaller items on there, a truck, legislative priorities, opioid lawsuit.
Yeah, so, the truck, they bought a new dump truck. Okay, so what? Well, no, they, again, it's for plowing snow, for providing services. And this is part of the whole transparency thing. Local government, all government should be transparent. And so even a teeny little detail like a truck, they need to mention it.
And it's an $85,000 expenditure.
It's significant. It's significant. Now, the next thing you mentioned, the legislative agenda, and this is one thing that you see in this whole article. A lot of what the council does, or at least a big percentage of it, to my way of thinking, is advocacy. They speak on behalf of Greenbelt to county government, to state government, and at times to federal government. And so this legislative agenda, every December, the council meets with Maryland state legislators, the ones who are, the Senator, Pinsky, and the delegates who represent Greenbelt, and talk about our concerns, our issues. So they talk about things that they don't have a direct impact on, but what they're saying to the state legislators are, this is what we care about. They're our voice. So it's important for us to communicate to council members to say, hey, we care about this, because that moves up. That's one of their jobs, is to advocate. So for example, and actually it's a lot of opposing going on, but opposing state takeover and privatization of the BW Parkway is one top issue. They oppose widening of the Beltway. They oppose the Bureau of Engraving and Printing moving to BARC. We're going to talk about that in a second. They oppose, or they would like to block Maglev, at least the paths under Greenbelt. But the one thing that they favor, so all those are oppositions, they favor and would like funding for the Greenbelt Road Cityscape improvement project. We've reported on that over the past year and more. This is a project that will add a median to Greenbelt Road, will include bus-only lanes, wider sidewalks, plantings, bicycle lanes.
And all of it to make that stretch of road maybe more pedestrian friendly, and maybe slow down a little bit and just make it prettier.
Yeah, in a way, more of a downtown. In a sense, I like to think of it, I haven't heard anybody put it this way, but in my mind, they're trying to shift the center of gravity from Roosevelt Center to Greenbelt Road, and to that whole area, which is, in a way, more the center of Greenbelt, or more accessible. So it's a fascinating project, and they want to advocate for funding, state funding, to help support that. So that's a legislative agenda. Keep your eye on it. It's important to watch. We'll be reporting on it after the meeting council has with legislators in December. So that's a big thing. One other thing you mentioned, and that's the council discussed joining an opioid lawsuit, where small communities are joining a suit. In other words, as the effects of the opioid crisis hits small communities, community services are used, to meet for service to meet the needs of people who have an opioid addiction. And so apparently communities are banding together to sue, I guess, the pharmaceuticals. So we'll see.
Until recently, the opioid epidemic didn't really affect Greenbelt, but we've had several fatalities lately.
Yeah, and there's a sense that it may be, growing here on the rise. So they're looking into it. There are people reviewing it, working with the police, working with others. So we'll see.
So an open house discussion on the proposed move of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing to a site on the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center occurred on Tuesday, December 3rd. You guys did a really quick, nice turnaround on this story.
It happened Tuesday night, and it's going to be in the paper that's out Thursday. So, one of our University of Maryland students covered that and did a great job. The meeting, the open house, was a required part of the impact. So this is a government entity. The Army Corps of Engineers would work with the Bureau of Engraving and Printing on this project. And so part of the impact assessment, which will be finished in like 2021, summer of 2021, is to have meetings like this, opportunity for community feedback. It's required by regulation because it's the government doing this.
And Greenbelt residents, as well as the City Council, are opposed to this.
Yeah, opposed.
And their concerns are what, maybe the environment and traffic?
Those are two big things. A lot of talk about light. That's one of the few dark places left. Also habitat for animals. Wastewater issues. Yeah, a lot of concerns. There were a couple of comments from attendees that this is a nightmare. Well, maybe just a bad dream, maybe not. I think it makes a difference that this is not private investment. Yet another 10-story condo building, but it is government. So there may be a benefit there. I still have some faith and belief in government. Also, there was skepticism among participants that what they had to say at that meeting would even make a difference, which...
That's right. There was a quote saying public concern would influence planning, but not likely shut down planning.
Well, okay, and that may be true. That may be the difference between nightmare and bad dream. But still, if something is going to happen, at least include concerns. Maybe there are ways to mitigate. Maybe there are ways to soften the blow, and maybe there are benefits even. This requires more study and requires comment, but also thoughtfulness as well.
And there's a public comment period that ends December 15th, and you can comment by email or by normal mail.
That's right, and that contact information is in the article. And so then it'll close. It'll next be open in 2021 when the impact study has been released. There'll be another period for public comment.
So still a ways away.
Yes.
Climate change. Greenbelt resident and meteorologist Greg Porter shared insights about how climate change could affect Greenbelt.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar, but the Washington Post, their meteorological operation is called the Capital Weather Gang. They're nationally known. And a member of that group is a Greenbelter, Greg Porter. And so one of our reporters talked to him and just talked a little bit about experiencing climate change from Greenbelt. It's easy to think, I think sometimes climate change is out there. It just doesn't affect me. But no, there are things, because of our unique location close to the Chesapeake Bay, as waters warm, he says we're going to see more and more, he believes, wetter summers, hotter summers, and that heat will last longer into fall, that we will have more summery kind of conditions later into the year. That those are things that you can expect to see, will likely see.
And finally, we have loads of holiday events coming up this weekend and this weekend of December 7th and 8th.
That's right. The tree lighting and the arrival of Santa on Friday the 6th. On the 7th and 8th, we have the Festival of Lights, the craft show. There's a concert a band concert.
Pancake breakfast.
As a
Lions
pancake
Club.
breakfast, yeah, I'm kind of missing that. Yeah.
There's so much going on, it's hard
There's
to
a
keep
lot.
track.
That's
Yeah.
right. But there's the pancake breakfast, Lions pancake breakfast at the American Legion, Saturday morning. The band concert, like I mentioned, Sunday afternoon. Just look at the paper. It's advertised in a lot of places. Go online and participate. It's an opportunity to buy some things. Oh, deco the halls. At the museum. The museum, the historic house, is decorated as if it were a 1938 Christmas. You know, in the very first, or one of the very first Christmases in Greenbelt. And so you get to see vintage stuff. So it's free.
That sounds like a great site to see. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's good.
Thanks for filling us in on events happening in Greenbelt this week.
My pleasure.